So, Robbie, today we also talk about branded sync, and I heard that you decided to play at the NAWCQ, right?
Yep, I did. I took the list that you and I made together and took it to the NAWCQ. Made to day 2, and I bubbled out.
Round 12, right?
It was actually round 11, but I played out through round 12.
Round 11. Okay, send me the deck list.
Yeah. So I think the list right at this point, I think it's pretty much solved. 3 Quem, 3 Cartesia is one of those cards that you definitely want to see them, along with all your Bestios. 3 Albaz. I think we can cut down to 2 Albaz because we are playing Shrouded Dragon, and on top of the Bestio Aluber, which is another copy of Albaz. But because Cash is still in the format, is the reason why we still play 3 of Albaz. 3 Lubellion, 3 Druid's Worm. I'm sorry, 3 Magnemite, 3 Sarnier, 1 Druid's Worm. I think this lineup is pretty standard. We don't need Baldrake. I don't think Baldrake ever come up for me, but the 3 Sarnier was really good because Sarnier is what's going to help you continue playing when you can't get to an Albaz in the graveyard, and that's where Sarnier would dump the Bestio Aluber, because it's considered a Albaz on field or in grave, just like Shrouded Dragon. We play 1 Makiri and 1 Tragedy. It's just for consistency, because something I noticed about this deck is it's a at least a 2-card combo. You need to see Quem and Bestio, or even a Cartesia and a Bestio, to even make some sort of play.
I mean, Fallen of Albaz and a Bestial also works because we kind of saw this interaction as well, because we could go into Striker Dragon as well. Or opening with Lubellion and another Bestial also works because you can add the Bestial Aluber and still go for this Pater plus Seal.
Correct. And it's just one of those niche interaction that we talked about, and that's the reason why I still play Striker Dragon. Initially, we played Striker Dragon is because we were playing Chaos Space and white and black. Yeah. But we kept that because of that scenario. And then we play 3 Branded Fusion. The 3 Branded Fusion, it's not something we always activate in turn 1 if we go first. It's more of a board breaker. So in a sense, I would consider that a non-engine. Then we play 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Imperm, 3 Nib. Ultimately, the lineup that we came up with is just to beat Cash in the chance that we face Cash. Like the deck itself can literally beat almost any meta deck right now.
And with just by engine, you beat every meta deck.
Correct.
Are so powerful.
It's so powerful. It's so much recursion. Once you get Regain and Beast on the board, they just keep on coming back. You don't lose out. You don't, fall behind on any of the resources. We decided to play 2 Branded in white. Initially, we talked about it. We were thinking about playing 3 because it's just another Miracle Fusion. However, I cut the 3rd white for red again because I want another way to play during my opponent's turn in end phase when you dump Albion, the Branded Dragon. Yeah. 1 Regain,
it
1
was
Beast.
Play red or play the Bestial Trap, the Etude. Because we needed a way to beat Evil Image. And
correct.
That's what we came out with.
Yeah, initially the list that you shared, it had a Aluber in there. Yes. Despia Aluber. I personally didn't like it because we were playing so many 1-offs, and I want to play another card that can actually make some type of impact during my opponent's turn, because this deck play most of the time is on your opponent's turn, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, Foolish, Goldsark, just for consistency. So that's the main deck, 43. I really wanted to cut down to 42. The only thing I can think of...
we can also cut down to 40. If you cut... You can cut Foolish, Sarcophagus, and Tragedy. It just feels like less consistent. I have a version of 40 of this deck. Like we built like 15 versions of this deck, actually.
Yes. 15. In the last 2 weeks, we built so many.
We built 15 versions of this deck. So, which versions did we test, and which cards did we test that didn't came out in the final video?
It was the Etude, the Chaos Base with the black and white.
Yeah,
and I think
even though those cards are very powerful when you go first, it was also with Ice Spirits. So we tested Ice Spirits, we tested the Etude, we tested Chaos Space. The issue about those cards are very powerful when you go first, but they are very weak against Omni Negation going second. So we wanted to maximize those, like the chances to play going second without going to neck.
All right. For side deck, I think it's pretty standard at this point. We play 3 Joel, 3 Ash, 3 Bell, 3 Book of Eclipse, and 3 Evenly Match. Joel was mainly for Purely and
Rika, Purely, Manadom 2, it's very good against those decks. Against every
Flunders.
deck that spams board Flunder, against Dragon Link is also good. Like Rika, like Troll is generally good against decks that spam on the board, or against decks that are not dark and light related. So that's why it had to be in our side deck.
Correct. Ash and Bell is just, branded. It could be for all the Runic deck. And then the last 2 is for mostly cash, but evenly can also be for trap deck. So the reason why our side deck has so many hand traps is because of the side pattern that we have for a specific matchup. The last 6 slot is mainly for cash. Our main deck is to build to beat cash because our engine beats everything else. We don't need like unfair card like Erad or even anti-spell or any kind of floodgates. Like initially we thought about those, but we need extra slot to make sure that the main deck we need to beat is cash because we believe that was the highest representation at the NAWCQ.
And in fact it was.
And the side pattern just fit. So that's the reason why we play that type of side pattern. For extra deck, we played 2 Albion, the Branded Dragon, 1 Mirror Jade. The 1 Mirror Jade, it was a tough decision to make because there are some certain scenario where the second Mirror Jade comes up, but you just have to really know how to manage your resource because technically regain can shuffle back your Mirror Jade and you can make it again. 1 Branded Rebellion, and then Titanic Clad. Titanic Clad mainly is to summon Quem. Rinbroom is just for the effect in the graveyard. It's just another interruption to play around Dark Ruler no more. Now the Borderland Furious Dragon, this card comes up so often because you don't rely on Mirror Jade. You during your opponent's turn, you rely on making Albion the Branded Dragon and then banished cards in your graveyard to make Furious because it's another pop for you, which comes up a lot with the amount of time I play against Runic. I play against Lab deck and any kind of deck that has back row. 1 Dusk, I think 1 Dusk was fine. I didn't miss the second one in this build. It was just mainly to summon Quem dump.
We tested the double Dusk. The issue is there are, like, instead of the double Dusk in my version, I'm playing Stapelia. I guess you're playing Chimera because you missed the Chimera. Like, how many times did you go for Chimera?
Not a whole lot because I lost every single one of my dice roll. I lost, let's say, 12 rounds. I lost maybe 9 rounds dice roll. So we would...
One question, because you were unsure about the Nibiru. What's up with the Nibiru? I heard your games, and every time there were a Nibiru token on the board. What's up with the Nibiru? How good was Nibiru for you?
Nibiru. I think Nibiru works 1/4 of the time because the only time I dropped the Nibiru was against Dragon Link and Fur Hire, but it was only because they did not have red. There's some Fur Hire that I played against, they have red on board already, which make Nib a dead card. I don't even bother activating it because I'd rather just keep it in hand using it as a discard fodder. Nib was a hit or miss based on the matchup. I did not even use Nib against Cash because I never drew it, but I do believe that Nib was the right call.
Let's proceed. So 1 Dusk.
Yep.
One and then
Sanctify mainly is just to play around evenly match. It's also good against Runic Fur Hire or Life Train Sprite. That's the reason why I play that. There was a time where I played against a Runic Fur Hire and he banished my Mirror Jade with Smasher. I activate Mirror Jade for the end phase effect. And then during end phase, I make Albion. I reborn his Rex to my side and my Albion the Branded to his side. So that way he can't use Rex during my turn. And then I use Mirror Jade to pop my own Albion the Branded so I can get another search. So it came up. It came up really well. Chimera, I think the Chimera line didn't come up often. It's just because I didn't get the chance to go first. Now,
You don't need it. You don't need it. How many times I told you do not need that?
I didn't feel like I need Drago Stepelli either. But it was just for the matchup against any kind of back row hate. Because when you have regain and you summon Chimera, it's either draw 1, draw 2, plus a regain draw on top of that. You plus so much. It's the reason why I feel like Chimera is such a needed card. You don't go neg with that card. And then Seal and Striker is just Seal is what I usually end on turn 1 if I go first. I went first maybe 3 out of the 9 rounds, and everybody was shocked because when they saw Quem, they saw Cartesia and Albaz, they think, oh, it's just another branded deck. But then I summoned Seal at the end of my turn. Everyone just shocked, like, what is this deck? What are you doing? This doesn't make sense. Or even when you summon Disbatter, they just was just flabbergasted at the way that the deck played. And some people actually even held Ash in hand because they think you're playing branded. So they don't know what a hand trap. It's so funny. Like when you Quem dump Cartesia and using a Bistic to banish it and be like, well, why are you banishing your own Cartesia? And they just let it go through. They don't understand. They don't know what a hand trap. And I think that's like the thing that I have that trump over the people that play other branded deck. It's just a surprise factor. And then Baron, Disbatter, and Lulu Waylith. Lulu, I don't know. It's a hit or miss with Lulu. I think that that is one of the cards that is cuttable because usually when you use Dust to special by banishing it, you would summon Quem so that we can dump another card. Lulu did not come up for me. Baron and Disbatter came up a lot, but yeah.
People are questioning Chaos Angel. Did Chaos Angel came up for you?
It did not. I never felt like I want to go into Chaos Angel. It's just because the deck has other ways to play, not like Mana Dome or like any of the deck that make Chaos Angel. Like whenever I think about let's go into Chaos Angel, I feel like there's just better play that you can do with the type of deck. It's just because you're playing Brand Fusion on top of that. You're playing a lot of Fusion Monster that just never needed Chaos Angel. Initially we had Chaos Angel, but we never make it.
Yeah, we never made the Chaos Angel.
We put ourselves in a scenario where would Chaos Angel come up in this scenario? It never does because there's just something else that's better.
Yeah, definitely. Also, there are some technical plays with the Hieratic Seal. Like, for example, with the Bestial Trap, Branded Beast and Hieratic Seal. And if you control a Bestial on the board, you can Branded Beast your Seal, pop a back row, and then Seal effect can float, which is kind of amazing. Any thoughts about, like, is there something that you would change about the deck? Like something to take in consideration to change it?
I think the only thing I might change is the third Albaz, because I'm pretty much playing 5 copies of Albaz right now. I think that's something that we can cut down. But other than that, I think the deck is pretty solid. The non-engine can be swapped out, depends on the matchup and the event you're going through. But I really like the deck.
I mean, I'm happy that you were happy with the deck choice because we worked very hard and you were not even sure. And I was like, bro, you have to run it. Like, I was like, bro, if you don't run it now, like, when? It was very close. Next time it's going to be closer. Next time we're going to top, next time you're going to win.
You know what's funny is on Thursday, I keep on testing this deck against every other deck, and I keep on losing. I was like, I even remember messaging you, bro, this is not the right deck. This is not the right deck. And then that Thursday night up until like 5 a.m. Friday, I was building a different deck. I was building my branded deck with a gimmick puppet, and then you messaged me, bro, just run it, don't be scared, this is the right call. And that really torn me. I actually rolled dice. I rolled dice three times to see which deck to play, and they all landed on yours, and this is the reason why I ran with the deck.
Dice power.
Yeah, that was crazy though. Yeah, so if anyone want, they can go ahead and run the deck. It is not as cookie cutter as it may seem. There's so many lines. It's just like another branded deck, but you play more synchro. You play more of like almost like a Dragon Link deck. But you just
Yeah,
have the
it is.
versatility of a branded fusion deck.
In my opinion, this is a Dragon Link with way more follow-up than normal Dragon. Like, this is basically Dragon Link, but a better version of Dragon. Your engine is just better than the Rocket engine. Like, that's why I was inspired by the other people playing Dragon Link. I was like, nah, bro, we cut the rockets and we play something else. And it came out to be Branded Fusion. Because, like, Branded Fusion, Quem, Cartesia, those are the best cards to ensure the best recovery in the game so far. And yeah, we ended up with this. Like, I was, to be honest, I was very happy. Like, I was very happy with the results of the deck. Obviously, once you know how the deck is built, the choke point changes, so people now can stop the deck. Okay, so
Correct.
So once you know how the deck is built, obviously now it becomes harder to play this version. But for that specific event, I think it was a good meta call, and it's, in my opinion, better than Dragon Link. It's not even close, bro. Like, you can like Dragon Link is like a bathroom compared to this, to be honest.
I think the Dragon Link deck has the pros and cons. They do have a one card starter, while we don't. However, they lose to a lot more Floodgates than we do.
No, we don't lose to Floodgates. Like, look at this.
Correct.
Like, look at your main deck. You have 3 Branded Fusion, white, so it's 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have 11 spells in a Branded deck. 11 spells. Like, you don't even, like, all you need is literally just throw your engine, and any Floodgate doesn't do anything to you. Maybe the only one that does something could be Rival.
Limit.
Summon Limit too. I mean, yes, Summon Limit is a big no, but yeah, like, the other Floodgates might be Rival, but that's about it. Like, Goes a Match, you can play around it. Skill Drain, very easy to play around it. Anti-Spell, very easy to play around it. Barrier should be easy to play around it if you don't commit your fusion play early, and if your opponent doesn't sack you on one-off. What else? Like, Eradicator, Virus, Calling Spells, Ancient Organism is also easy to play around it, because you can just go into Albion, send it to the graveyard for Lubellion, and Albion in the graveyard can set the Branded Beast. So it's like, you have outs to every Floodgate, and this deck doesn't specifically lose to any Floodgate that's played currently in the game, because who's gonna play Rivalry in the main deck? Like, what, 1 people out of 300 people, maybe?
You don't even lose to Rivalry, because you can just play the Dragon side, which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
the
depends how you commit, I guess. Yeah, depends on how you commit. Like, you can play around Rivalry too, but depends on how you commit. Usually you try to start with the Quem lines and stuff. Obviously, if you are able to use a Bestial in your opponent, you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna be locked into Dragon, which is fine as well. So it's like, you can potentially play around everything.
Again, just want to give a shout out to you for putting me on this deck. I think that the 2 weeks that we work on this deck, the fruit of our labor definitely show. Unfortunately, that one last decision I made on the type of calling on what my opponent's back row is.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, we need to train our brain, because the last round and the day 1, you were tired. The last round of day 2, it was an incorrect call. We discussed about it. Like, another Bestial just beats the deck, but another Beast just deals with his entire board by itself. But that's fine. Okay, now you don't have to think about what could happen if you were doing that. We already know what could happen if you were doing that. We have to focus for the future. Like, being stuck in the past, it's not gonna help you.
My opponent's set, because that's the only unknown card, and he was playing Mana Dome, and I thought it was reframing, which is their counter trap, but I made the wrong call. It ended up being D barrier, and it was and I watched his profile. He only played 1 D barrier in the side.
No!